this lie tricked a business into wasting $100,000. Check this out. This business increased their spend in this one campaign and saw more results in Google Ads. But here's the deal. I could see what Google wasn't showing them. And so when I looked at their Google Ads account and their back end of their business, I found something. I'm going to give you a practical 4-step method and how you can catch this lie in your own account and business so that you can save money. Google's logic is this. If they can get in front of a user that is already going to convert and they can take credit for it, then they will take every chance that they can get. You know why? Because Google knows that we all want to optimize for the numbers that we see in front of us. No one in their right mind would say, let's spend money in the campaigns showing the worst ROAS. But here's the thing. I must be out of my mind because that's exactly what I'm going to tell you to do. And this is because over 45% of Google searches fall into this trap, where there is a high ROAS, but minimal to no change or growth in the actual business. But before I reveal the 45% of Google searches that fall into what I call the ROAS trap, you have to understand this first. When you get a high ROAS, it leads you to spend more money, which often leads to a higher cost per click and the same number of clicks. This then gives you the same number of conversions, or when Google is actually sneaky, it will actually show more conversions inside of Google. But there's no more conversions that actually happen in the back end of the business. This ultimately leads to more money for Google and less money for you. This is why Google's only growing and making billions of dollars year after year, while small businesses are just getting crushed. According to this Dream Data study, which I'll link here in the description, there's 2 buckets of Google searches. 45.7% of Google searches lead to a 1,200% ROAS. And then the second bucket is 54.3% of Google searches only report 87% ROAS. And most businesses also focus on spending more in the first bucket of searches. So bucket number 1 is branded searches. Brand searches target people who already know you and are already searching for your brand. They've basically already made the decision to buy. And bucket number 2 is non-brand searches. These non-brand campaigns target people who don't know that you already exist. Google knows that you want a high ROAS and that if they can report a high ROAS, that you'll continue to spend there. And that's why they're trying to keep you in bucket 1. But you cannot grow a brand by spending more on brand campaigns. Brand searches are people who already know you and have already made the decision to buy. The way to grow here is to actually target bucket 2, users who don't know that you exist. The key is to target the cold, high-intent searches, but most people are scared to do this because growth campaigns look extremely bad, and let's be honest, no one wants to look bad. But what if we flip the script? What if we stopped falling for the ROAS trap where Google continues to make more money? What if we actually chose to grow our own businesses? This is a 4-step method to detect the ROAS trap in your actual campaigns and actually grow your business. And make sure you stick with me because in number 3, I'm actually going to show you a case study of how I increased spending in cold, high-intent campaigns that look terrible and how it actually reduced the overall CPA, the cost per acquisition in the whole account. The first step to detect the ROAS trap and actually growing your business is simple. Reject ROAS. We need to retrain our brain to understand that the levers that actually grow a business is not ROAS. ROAS inside of Google Ads is only one of many metrics that we should be measuring. So while industry praises a high ROAS, you need to look at the back end of your business and compare the results with Google Ads. This can be especially complicated if you have multiple sources of traffic that are across organic and paid. Step number 2 is run the spend versus clicks analysis. Are you spending more and not getting more clicks? The way to figure this out is to go into Google Ads, do a filter by the time, choose month, and compare month over month data. If you're spending more and you're seeing the same amount of clicks, then it's likely that you are actually falling into this trap of spending more and getting a higher CPC, but not actually truly getting more incremental results for your business. Step number 3, analyze your brand searches in your campaign. A study that Optimizer conducted, and I'll link in the description below, is that only 4.5% of campaigns have brand exclusions set up in PMax. So if you're wondering why you can't grow, that actually might be it. Here, you'll go to the search terms report, you'll filter your brand name, and this will reveal if you're overspending on conversions you would have gotten anyway. Remember that first brand that was wasting over $300 per day on brand searches? You got to check this out. Our cost went from $10,476 down to $3,565. We actually ended up saving $6,900, which basically equates to $287 per day. And so if you multiply that by 365 days, that's $105,000 that we are saving this business. Yes, we did lose 16% of conversions from the time period before, so 396 down to 329, but these 67 conversions, they actually ended up coming in through organic. And so what we ended up doing is saving $105,000 a year and then going over to the top of funnel and spending 82% more to ultimately get 43% more conversions that they would not have gotten because these are non-brand searches. And we double checked this on the back end. And it is true, in fact, that we are receiving all of these newer conversions, which is pretty incredible. So we went from spending $3,742 on the top of funnel all the way up to $6,847. And we're getting more conversions on the back end for a lower cost per conversion. So don't be concerned about particular campaigns looking worse. Look at your overall metrics, look at the back end of your business, and that will define ultimately how your business is doing. And I get it. They were afraid to decrease spending on brand for the fear of missing out of conversions. The critical mistake here is that you're using Google Ads to measure the health of your business. But Google Ads is not designed to be a measurement tool. It's designed to be a marketing tool. We need to use a separate tool to actually measure the health of your business, which leads me to step 4. Measure your business using the metrics that grow your business, not Google's. You'll want to calculate your true blended customer acquisition costs across all campaigns, not just individual ROAS numbers that Google wants you to obsess over. This billion-dollar lie is making businesses bleed, and I'm personally passionate about seeing businesses like yours actually grow. Stop chasing what the industry chases and start growing your business. Tune into my next video to learn how you can actually grow your business.